Hello everyone, welcome to Python Algo Trading Tutorials on my YouTube channel. This is fifth video in continuation of the last one uploaded few days back. So in this tutorial I am going to explain you how to implement Trade Manager and some base strategy with default implementation so that any strategy that you are going to build can be derived from base strategy and can use its own logic. Okay, we'll see the code and explain each part in detail. Okay, so going to the topic, what are the contents I'm going to cover today? Okay, sorry, before watching this video, I request you to please watch the previous videos to have a better understanding of this video. I renamed all the tutorials titles with Python Algo Trading prefix. So it will be having like Python Algo Trading 1, 2, 3, 4. So anyone can just watch the series in the numbered pattern, right? So in ordered manner, okay? Yeah, with respect to that, this is fifth video. Okay, then content. So what I covered in this tutorial, I implemented a Trade Manager class which is responsible for handling the trades placed by different strategies. Okay, and what are the data models we use for Trade Manager? Like when I create a new trade, so I call it as a trade model. So it has some properties which I'll explain while going through the code. And another data model we have is order. So this order is nothing but we place orders onto broker terminal, right? And we get the details of the order. So the orders can be of type. Each trade can have different orders like entry order, sell order, and target order. These are the main orders of each trade, correct? So we'll see how we organize them in the code. And I wrote some utility functions required by Trade Manager and strategies. So what are the utility functions we generally need? Let's say if you want to start your Trade Manager in the morning before 9 a.m. Let's say you start your program, but till the market start time, okay, till the clock ticks 9:15, your Trade Manager should be just waiting for the clock to tick 9:15 a.m. So in a similar manner, the strategies should wait till the strategy start timestamp arrives, right? And there are some utility functions for generating a unique ID for the trade, and we'll see what are all those things. And I wrote a base strategy, which is a super class for all the strategies with a default implementation. Okay, and each strategy has to basically derive from the base strategy and have its own logic. Okay, and I wrote some sample code for some sample strategy. Here in this case, I am not going to place any order. That order placement logic will come into the next tutorial. But what are the components or code I wrote after the previous video? I will explain all those things. Okay. Okay, the main thing here need to be considered like it's multi-threading mode. So whatever the components we are going to add, all should run parallelly, right? So whenever you start your Python application, that is assume that the main thread starts running, right? So here, when you open the browser page and click on broker login, and then after successful login, you will be redirected to a Python app homepage where you click on start algo button, right? So when you click on start algo button, so here what exactly we are doing, we are going to run this algo, okay, in a separate thread. So that means the main application forks a separate thread, which is algo thread, And when you start algo, this algo thread internally starts trade manager and all the strategies that you implement. Okay, the trade manager, it will fork the trade manager in a separate thread and each strategy in a separate thread. So all strategies should be running parallelly at the same time, right? That's what we need, because let's say at 9:20 a.m. strategy 1 and 2 both can be active, and both can uh, analyze based on its own logic and can find the trades, and they can initiate the trades, right? So they should not be running one after another. So all strategies should be running in parallel. So what here trade manager does, and trade manager internally again starts a ticker service. So again the ticker itself is again another thread. So it will be like a hierarchy of threads the application is going to create. Okay, so this one should understand this mechanism, so that it will be easy for you understanding the code. Otherwise it will be difficult if you do not understand a multi-threading model. So if you are new to threading, multi-threading, I request you to go to some tutorials on Python or even in generic. So what is threading and how the things work in general, right? Okay. And let's jump into the code. So okay, this is the code structure. So from the previous session to this session, there are new things added here. Trade management package added and strategies package added. Within that there are two classes here, base strategy and some sample strategy. And in trade management I wrote some trade manager class and trade model and some trade state model. And what else? I a little bit modified this quote class. Okay, and okay, here I have added a new file in the config JSON file, that is nothing but holidays. So here we need to maintain the list of holidays. Okay, since it's 2021, I just added all the dates of holidays, I mean trading holidays, exclusive of Sundays and Saturdays. So we will write the code for identifying Sunday, Saturday by default with the help of the libraries, but other than Saturday, Sunday, we need to configure the trading holidays in some file. So here I am just writing inside a holidays.json file. It's like year, month and date. Okay, so and where exactly we are reading this holidays? Inside config.py, this Python file. Here I had a new method, get holidays, which will read from the config holidays.json file and load the JSON data into list, Python list, and it will return the Python list. So this list will be used in the program wherever we want to check if it is a holiday or not. Correct? Okay, before jumping into trade management or other details, so let's look at utilities part first, because these are the functions will be used by trade management and strategy manager wherever it is required. So what are the things I added here? First of all, so this is the old code init logging, so you can ignore that now for now. So we have some utility function like round off to round off some floating point number to 2 decimals here, and so round to NSE price. We have NSE, like NSE price is this way, right? I mean the difference is 0.05, right, in each tick. Let's say 121.33. This is not a valid in NSE price, right? 121.35. This is a valid NSE price. So when you do some calculations within your program, right, like calculating based on some mathematics, you calculate some trigger price or you calculate some stop loss price. So the stop loss can come to like this, like 3.3, but If you place order with this 121.33, the order will be rejected by the broker because this is not a valid NSE price. Of course, it's valid on BSE, maybe on other segments, but on NSE it's not valid. So you have to convert this to valid NSE price. So the nearest, maybe 35 or 121.30. So whichever is the nearest. So for that I have added this utility method round to NSE price. Okay, give some price and it will convert to the nearest valid NSE price. And what you need is market open, right? So for this we need some library. So what is today and what is current time, right, etc. Here I have imported date time is part of Python libraries. So how we can use it, right? So first of all is market open. This, when you call this function from trade manager or strategy manager, whenever you're going to start, so we need to return, so whether it's market open or not, right? So first what do you take? Is today holiday or not? If it is holiday, the market is not open, right? So there you can directly return false. Sorry, here some mistake. Okay. And so what is this today holiday? So this is again the utility function within this file itself. If you come down, so here I wrote is today holiday. So how do you check if it is today is a holiday or not? First I am getting the current time, right? Then so now weekday. So what is the day number, right? It will be like, it will get some integer value here, 1 2 3 4, right? So if you want to the text value of the day, then we need to use calendar library, calendar dot day underscore name and the day number you are giving. It will return the day of the week, right? You check if it is Saturday or Sunday, just return true because that is a holiday by default. Otherwise, if it is other than Saturday, Sunday, if it is a weekday, then what I am doing here, I am just getting the list of holidays here and what is today date. So get today date str, another utility function written here. Get today date str. You can use some library function strf time with the date format. What type of date format, right? So here the date format I have used and will be same across the application. And the same format, this holidays.json file is filled. YYY hyphen mm hyphen dd, right? Here what I am getting, so what is the today date str? What is today? 2021-05-04. So that you will get, and we are getting the list of holidays from get holidays function, which we are importing from this config class. And here we are checking if the today date is in holidays list or not. If it is in holidays list, then return true. That means today is holiday. So if it is today's holiday, then we are not going to run our strategy, right? We are not going to do anything with our algo, right? So for that purpose, I add this utilities method. Generate trade ID. This will be used when you create a new trade. Okay. So where we were here, right? Is market open today or not? If it is holiday, it's not open by default. So otherwise, so when exactly the market is open, right? At 9:15 a.m. for us. So get the current time, right? This will give the today and date and time. Get market start time. So what is market start time? I have written, yeah, here it is. Get market start time, market end time. So get time of day. Utils again, get time of day, again another function I wrote. So this will be used across application wherever you want to, say you want to get the time of, let's say 14:30, right? 2:30 p.m. You just pass 14 here, minutes 30 and the seconds 0. So this function will return you the date time object of 14:30. So what I used, get market start time, get time of day, I passed 9:15:0. So please note these hours are in 24 hours format. If it is 2 p.m. then you have to use 14. Okay. Similarly, for get market end time, get time of day, call this method by passing the parameters 15, that is 3:30 p.m. right? And when you come here, is market open or not, we get market start time and market end time using other utility functions, and we are checking the current time. The current time is greater than or equal to market start time and less than or equal to market end time. It should be between 9:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Then only this condition will return true. That means is market open, true. Is market closed for the day? So this is a bit different from is market closed. It's not exactly opposite of is market open. So what I mean here, this method returns true if the current time is greater than market end time, right? Please note this will not return true if current time is less than market start time. So in the morning before 9:15 a.m., if you call this method, right, so this will not return true. Ideally market is closed before 9:15, but we are not going to use in that manner. So there is some reason you'll come to know in future when I start progressing further. Just keep in mind. Anyhow, I wrote comment here. So this will return true only if current time is greater than market end time. First, is market closed for the day? If it is holiday, obviously it is true. If it is holiday, we'll just return true, is market closed. Otherwise, if it is other than holiday, we'll get the market end time and we'll compare with the current time now greater than market end time. If it is greater than market end time, then return true. So whenever the market is closed, we use inside trade manager strategy manager, because all those are running in the threads in a loop, right? So whenever this function returns true, when it is called inside trade manager, basically the trade manager will stop on its own. It will stop the strategies and or algo, whatever. The algo will be stopped basically. And why this method? Wait till market opens. I written another utility method here. Let's say you started this application around 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock, whatever, before market hours, and you just and you're going out and you are expecting the algo should run automatically when the market starts, right? So if you start application at 8 a.m., you should not analyze and should start placing the trades, right? Because that's not going to work because market is closed. Broker will give you error at that time. So if you start at 8 a.m. in the morning, then your program should wait until the clock ticks 9:15 a.m. right? Market starts. So for that purpose, I wrote another utility function here. So what exactly this does, right? So here a bit different. We are getting a get epoch time. I have wrote some epoch time. So what is epoch time? Epoch time is nothing but it's just converting the current time to epoch time. Epoch time is nothing but it's shown in a number of seconds or millisecond from the date 1970 January 1st, I think. Yeah. So it will be like this. I'll say epochconverter.com. I'm just opening. So what is the current epoch time? This is a unique time stamp. That's called epoch time. So it's keep on increasing. Every second will be increased. Right? So if you want to convert this epoch time, this is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, 6:26:34 p.m. Okay. You can convert this number to this date or this date to some epoch time. So why we use epoch time? It will be easy for comparisons, right? So that's why. And yeah, it can be in milliseconds or seconds. In our program, we use up to seconds precision, not milliseconds. Please note that. So I think if you want details, you can go here. Epoch time is the starting. The epoch time 0 means this is the date. 1970 year, January 1st, 000000. That's this is equivalent to epoch time value 0. Okay, from there, how many number of seconds passed till today? So you multiply this many years, this many dates, this many hours into minutes into seconds. So in that way, we'll get the epoch time. Okay. So here I'm using this epoch time. Get what is the current epoch time, and what is the today market start epoch time. Okay. So get epoch, and I'm passing the get market start time. So I'm just I need how many number of seconds I need to wait till market opens. Okay. For that purpose, I am calculating here. So let's say you're starting a program at 8 a.m. right? So what is 9:15? So this is 9:15 minus 8 a.m. So there are some seconds minus some seconds. So you'll get the wait seconds. So the difference is like 9:15 15 minutes and 8 a.m. 1 hour. 1 hour 15 minutes equivalent to 60 plus 15 minutes 75 minutes into 60, right? So 4,500 seconds. Right? Here you will get 4,500 seconds if you are starting this program at 8 a.m. I mean, if you're calling this function at 8 a.m. If the wait seconds is greater than 0, then what we are going to do is we're just printing some context. So this can be used in a strategy, a trade manager, or if you want to use anywhere in the program, right? So I'm just printing that context name here, waiting for this many seconds, let's say 4,500 seconds till market opens, right? Context and we are calling a sleep function till that time, that particular thread, wherever this function where till market opens is called, that particular thread will just sleep till that time market opens. Okay. Otherwise, what if you are starting the program after 9:15? Let's say you forgot to start program and you starting at 9:30 direct. Okay. So in that case, this function is called anyways, but the wait seconds you will get is a negative, right? Because the time is already passed. So then you don't need to wait. So just continue. We are not going to wait. Only if it is greater than 0, then only wait. Otherwise, we are not waiting. Okay. For that purpose, it is used. I think I covered all the utility functions here. So this is today date str. This will be written in format 2021-0504. Okay. Yeah, that's it from utilities point of view. And then let's go to algo. So this is the starting point, right? When you successfully log into the broker and when you click on start algo button, and basically we are starting this start algo in a separate thread, right? So here just printing, if it is already started, we are just printing already started. Otherwise, so what you will do, you will just fetch all the instruments from the broker, right? Then here, yes, I am the trade manager init. The init method of trade manager I am calling inside the start algo. If you see, the threading is I am running a separate thread. Okay, so that this will start immediately and it can go down, right? So it won't block here. And the start algo is in the separate thread, the main thread, everywhere. Everybody in the trade manager and all strategies will be in a separate thread. So after trade manager start, what I am doing here, so you need to start each strategy in a separate thread, correct? So I wrote everything in a single line, don't get confused here. Basically this entire thing is a one. I'm just getting the instance of the thread object and then I'm calling the start. Okay, so here I split it into two parts, but here I just wrote in a single line because we'll be having multiple strategies, right? You can just write to start each strategy in a single line. Okay, and the strategy name here, get instance and run method. Each strategy have default method run that I implement in a base class. I will explain what is that, and what is this get instance. I will explain what is that. So this is how the algo starts trade manager and each strategy. First, let's look at trade manager class. Okay. So trade manager, nothing, we just imported from here, right? Trade manager package and the trade manager. If you go to trade management, trade manager. Okay. So what I'm doing here, so when the trade manager init method is called, right? Suppose if you're running the program before 9:15 a.m. before market start, or if you're running this on holiday, whatever. So what I'm checking here, I'm just taking the utilities reference here and we check if it is today is a holiday or not. If it is holiday, then I'm just printing cannot start trade manager, today is trading holiday. I'm returning from here itself. We are not going to do anything with the trade manager. If it is not holiday, if it is a trading day, then in the next statement what I wrote is market close for the day. If you are starting after the market hours, again we are not going to do anything, we just return. Else, in other cases, what we are doing, wait till market opens. We are just passing the context name here. So I have to explain, right? So here wait till market, this function we are calling. If the wait seconds you get j greater than 0, then we'll wait there. I mean this particular trade manager thread will wait till market opens. So this thread will halt here till 9:15 a.m. And when the 9:15 a.m. ticks, So this will come out. So what exactly we are doing here in a trade manager? We need to do some basic, initialize some basic components, like we have to use ticker service across our application. So I'm just creating an instance of ticker, initially its name. From the control, get the broker name. What is configured is currently it's only Zerodha supported. In future, we'll see whether we can add 5S and other brokers based on if time permits. Of course, I'm planning to add, but it will take time. For now, let's consider only Zerodha. But what are the implementation I'm doing is considering multiple brokers. So you can configure one of the brokers. So based on your interest or your account, okay. If broker is Zerodha, then we start Zerodha ticker instance, create instance of Zerodha ticker, else other broker. Okay, so whatever it may be, which broker it is doesn't matter. Here you call again this ticker instance and then start ticker, because the way I implemented is using object-oriented programming principle. We have some base ticker, then derived class like Zerodha ticker, 5S ticker, which I explained in the previous video. You can go to previous video for all this explanation. Okay. Ticker, we're just starting the ticker. Again, when you call this function, this will start in a separate thread, so that this particular thread won't be blocked, right? And after the ticker started, so what exactly we need? When you start a ticker, okay, we establish a connection, WebSocket connection with the broker, and the broker keeps sending you ticks of whatever the symbols you registered for it, correct? So, but how do you get those ticks, right? So I wrote that code. How do you get those ticks in your callback method? You can look at the ticker class. So after starting the ticker here, actually register listener. I'm calling that register listener. So I am a listener here in this case. Who is the listener? TradeManager.ticker listener. This function reference I am sending to register listener. Okay. So there can be multiple places in your application where you can call ticker register listener. Okay. So and the ticker service will start sending the ticks to all the listeners whoever registered. So in this case, only one listener for now. So that is nothing but this static method ticker listener, TradeManager.ticker listener. So once you start the ticker and when you register this listener, and after that again you need to register symbol also. If you don't register any symbol, you will not be getting any ticks, right? Say for example you register symbol SBI and Reliance. I commented code for now, but you can uncomment it, test for yourself. So when you start this algo, right? So when this trade manager starts and ticker starts, and after registering the symbols, you'll keep getting the ticks. So this is get lots of prints in this function. This function being called for each tick of SBN or Reliance, which are the symbols registered. Okay. So this is how trade manager looks. Okay. And inside trade manager, what else I added? So whenever you're creating, let's say, a trade, right? So what are the basic things you need, right? So you are in starting a trade, you place some entry order with some quantity, some price. The order can be filled fully or partially, or it cannot be filled at all, because if that price does not reach within your time limits. And what else? If the order is filled partially or completely, then what do? You place stop loss order and then target order if it is applicable, and you keep tracking the trade. Or what else you have? In case of SL order, you may use based on your strategy, you may trail the SL, right? And your trade can be of type, let's say, intraday margin, NRML or CNC, or it can be in futures, or it can be in options. So in which direction your trade is, a long trade or short trade, correct? So, and what do you do with your trade if SL does not hit or target does not hit before your square off time? Let's say your square off time is 3 p.m. or 3:15 p.m. So you have to square off, right? From the algo should square off if SL or target is not hit. If SL or target hit, then you have to update your trade details, correct, with the order details, and you have to update the exit price. So what is the exit reason? why it is exited, right? And what are the things? Your trade state, in which state it has, right? So these are the some parameters mostly we use. You can have more properties based on your strategy if you want to, you want to advance some advanced thing. So what are the things we generally use, right? Mostly it covers almost all. I think you may not need more than this, but anyhow, if you need, you are free to add your own properties here. Okay. So here I am just using this trade class as a model. Okay. So whenever we are creating a new trade, so you call this trade class and create an object of trade. So what are the things? We have some trade ID, which is a unique ID. We have to generate. Whenever this is called, I am generating from utils class. I written here some generate trade ID inside utils. So this will give some unique random number. Okay, if you go to trade, and then what is the main thing is trading symbol. Which trading symbol it is? If it is equity segment, it will be like SBI and Reliance. If it is a futures, it's like Bank Nifty, FUT, like May FUT May, something like that, 21 May. If it is options, right, again Bank Nifty, some strike price, some weekly expiry date, month name, etc. So that will be the trading symbol. So strategy. So from which strategy basically this trade is initiated. So that is strategy name. So this is internal to algo. So direction, it's a long or short. Product type, MIS, NRML, CNC. So mostly in this algo I am going to concentrate only on MIS. So most of the time what are the strategies we implement based on MIS orders. If you want CNC or NRML, then you can use this framework to implement your own logic. So NRML and CNC is out of scope of this project. So only intraday strategies are in the scope of this project. Okay. Is futures, whether to tell whether this strategy is a future strategy or not. If it is just true, if it is option strategy, or if it is option, then what is option type, right? If it is anyhow, the symbol will tell you what is the option type, but again, so here it's a CEP. Of course, this may not be valid, but I just kept it. You can use it or not, that's okay. And place market order. So once you create this trade, if you want to instruct the trade manager to place market order or not. If it is true, it will just place a market order. Otherwise, what it will do? It will place the limit order at the request entry. So what is the value here? So this is a request entry. There are things like no target. Your trade may not have any target, right? You just enter the trade and you have some stop loss and run till the day of the till the end of the day or till it will hit SA. So in that case, no target, intraday square of times time. So based on your strategy, each trade can be different, right? I mean, your one strategy one can have intraday square of time 15 and some other can have 230 itself. So this is the timestamp we are maintaining to square of your trade. This is the request entry. Let's say your breakout is some level, right? 32,500 Bank Nifty, go long, and you created some trade, but while placing the trade manager, it's already moved up. Okay, even though if it is not market order, then it will place the order at request entry. The price may pull back and it can fill. If it is market order, it will just place the market order as soon as the trade placed. Okay, and what is the entry? This entry is actual entry. So that's why I put two different properties here. Request entry can be different and entry can be different. Actual entry. And the quantity, what is the requested quantity? Okay. Let's say you placed order with some 500 quantity, but the filled quantity may not be 500, right? It can be zeros, 200, 300, so whatever, or 500. So in case of a quantity equal to filled quantity, then that order is complete. Otherwise, it will be partially filled order and it will be in open state. And we are maintaining two properties here as well, stop loss and initial stop loss. So initial stop loss and stop loss both will be same. In case of trailing SA, So you need to update the stop loss value to the latest one. So initial stop loss will be same at the original level. Okay. And what is the target if it is applicable, and current market price, just to update the references in this trade, so that you can later use the trade data to print somewhere. So what is the current market price, and entry, exit, and profit loss, etc. And what are the things? Trade state. Okay. So in this application, what I'm going to maintain, so there can be different states of the trade, right? So the possible values can be, so whenever this object is created, so the default state of the trade is created. So what does mean? So it's just nothing but some values here. So this is a model so these are the state trade can have. Created, when you create the trade. So create means it doesn't mean the trade is placed. Okay, you calculate something, you got some values. Let's say Bank Nifty today opened at 32,500 and your long entry level is at 33,000. Okay, so after market open, let's say at 9:20, based on 5 minutes candle, you calculate some values and you got some long breakout price and you got some short breakout price. So at 9:20 a.m. itself, you created a trade. Okay, with a trade with the details, request entry 33,000 for long and let's say 32,000 for short. The trade is created. Okay, so that is in trade state. That is not a trigger and that is not a entered. Okay, so please understand the difference between the trade is created and trade is active. So the active means whenever the order is placed. I mean, let's say 33,000 price came in the afternoon around 12:30 and your trade entered. So from that time onwards, the trade is active. Okay, and what is completed? You entered, and after some time your SL is hit or target is hit, or your trade got squared off at 3:15. I mean, you all go squares off the trade at 3:15 p.m. So after that, you have to set the trade state to completed state. And another thing is cancel. So why this come into picture? So there are some reason, there are some cases where you place the trade, but the trade got rejected. Let's say you place a trade in Adani Power in the morning at 9:20 or whatever, but the broker blocked the symbol, that instrument for trading on the day. So what you will get? You will get the rejected error, right? So then we create the trade and we place the trade. Okay, so after the placing the trade, that will become active, but it's rejected, right? It's not accepted. The order is not accepted. If the entry order is not accepted, it's cancelled or rejected due to any reason. So then we have to set the state into cancelled state. That means the trade not at all went through for the day, right? So these are main states. So cancelled or rejected, whatever. I'm just keeping only one state here. That is enough. That is about the trade state. And create timestamp. So whenever this particular trade object is created, so we are just calling with now. Okay, trade create start timestamp. The start timestamp is nothing but when that order is placed, when the entry order is placed. Okay, that is when the trade start becomes active. That is the start timestamp of the trade. We have to update it. Okay, whenever the trade is placed. So these things will be done by trade manager, which we will implement. Okay. What is end timestamp? When the trade is closed. I mean, again, stop loss hit, target hit, or square sum. So that will be the end timestamp of the trade. Profit loss. So what is your entry, exit? Based on that, you will calculate the profit loss. Here I am not added the charges part. If you wish, let me know. I'll add that also. But else, I think if you are okay with just profit loss without charges, keep it like this. If you want charges also, let me know. I'll add that calculation part and all. P&L percentage, whatever the profit loss with percentage terms. What is the trade exit price? That is the average exit price of the trade. Exit reason, we have to update this reason whenever the trade is exited due to any reason. By default exchange, we are keeping NSE. Currently, it's only for NSE. If you want to trade other exchanges, you can add more exchanges, and wherever it's required, just update the code while placing order, or within your strategy, or wherever you are updating the reference of this trade, you can just their trade.exchange equal to put BSC or whatever other exchange. And other main important part is these are all the properties for a trade. So what are the things? You need entry order, SL order, target order. So these again are objects. Each can have multiple properties, right? So what is entry order, SL order, target order? So what order looks like, right? So I created an order model here with these properties. So what order can have the trading symbol, again exchange, product type, MIS, environment, CNC, order ID. So when you get the order ID, this order ID, when you place the order, you'll get the order ID from the broker. Even if it is a cancel, rejected, in that case also you'll get the order ID. Okay, right? You get order ID, we'll update our references with the order ID. Order state again. This is the order state defined in order state. I have defined these states here. So generally in system we are maintaining some values, right? So these values are different from values can be different for each broker. So Zerodha can maintain these values, but FIRES can have some other names. But in system we are going to, in Algo, our system, we are going to maintain a specific value so that these can be used across the application wherever it's required. So you don't need to check everywhere. If it is FIRES, use this value. If it is Zerodha, use this values. So that's a cumbersome code and will be very difficult to maintain that kind of code, and it's prone to more bugs. And I mean, that's not a proper design when you ask me, frankly. So what we do, this is anyway, these are the state we are going to maintain within our system, order status. So each order can have any of those status. When you place order, it will be open, pending, then open. If it is filled, then complete. Okay. If it is not filled completely, then still it's open. If it is a SL order, then it's a trigger pending state. If it is rejected or cancelled, this is the state. Okay. One of those values order state. And then order type. So what is the type, right? When you place order, you place at market order. You will place at limit. If it is SL order, we'll place at SL limit or SL market. Okay. Sell blood price. So when you place order, you have to give some price. In case of SL order, you have to give trigger price and price also if it is SL limit. This price is nothing but a limit price. Okay. It's not applicable if it is a market order. And trigger price in case of SL order, and average price. So this average price basically, so after the order is filled, let's say you placed market order, so the order can be filled at any value, right? So you gave some 1,000 quantity, so different quantities can be filled at different prices. So average price of all those individual trades will become average price. So I mean, individual trade means right? I mean, when you 1,000 quantity when you place, so internally it can be like 25 quantity, 50 quantity, 30 quantity. So all can group into a single 1,000 quantity. So the average price will be different in this case. If you are placing limit order and if it is filled at there, then the limit order price will and average price will be same. But in case of market, this will be different from your requested entry price. And this quantity. So the quantity you requested for and this filled quantity. So what are the quantity filled so far, and the pending quantity will maintain. There's nothing but total quantity minus filled quantity. And order placed timestamp. So when the order is placed, and last order update timestamp. So when do you require this? So in Algo we will maintain in case of trail SL. So basically we need to update the last updated timestamp. So that what happens, right? You don't update in an infinite loop manner, right? You keep updating whenever you get trail SL. After every minute, keep updating, right? So it should not be happen. So there are some cases where you use, okay, if this update in last few minutes, I'm not going to update it again, even though if the logic satisfies or whatever reasons. Again, there are some certain limits from the broker to update an order. So I think Zerodha supports only 30 times. You can update only 30 times in a day, any order. If you go beyond that, then you have to, I mean, it won't work. So ideally you can trail the SL 30 times. Of course, you can have another logic. If you have more than 30 times SL, then you have to cancel the current order and you create a new order. So all those things you can do on your own. Those are not in this project scope. Okay, those are advanced steps. And okay, so where are we? We learned what is order and what are the properties it can have. So come to trade. So trade can have entry order, SL order, and target order. Again, entry generally we have, SL also we have. Without SL, nobody is going to trade, I know, unless you have some specific things like suppose your exit is based on some candle close, right? So in that case, you don't have SL order. I mean, you just have directly exit order. I mean, that is target order, whatever, right? So after the candle is closed, based on your condition, you just close the trade at market price if it reaches your SL. So in that case, SL order can be none and target order can be none if it is not applicable. Here we are just printing some values of the trade. Of course, you can print all the values, but for now I just am interested in printing only these values. Okay, that's okay. And I covered trade managers, trade state. Okay, how the actual implementation is not yet done, we'll see. But before that, I want to explain each module clearly so that by the time I write the trade manager code, it will be easy for you to understand. Also, it will take less time for my video. If I want to cover all these things in a single video, it will be like few hours video. So for that matter, I want to explain in a parts manner so that it will be easy for you. Okay, step by step. Now coming to the strategy. Again, we need to connect the strategy and trade manager. That connection is not done yet, but again, I'm building the blocks. Okay, so we'll connect one by one. So any strategy, okay, have some common properties again. So what are these are the things I define. You can have your own properties. So how the framework, this framework I am going to implement, uses the strategy. So when I say any strategy, based strategy, you can have multiple strategy and each strategy has to derive from this strategy only, because I am having some default logic here. So you don't need to write the complex logic, right? Suppose you are implementing a strategy for yourself based on super trend green signal, go long, super trend red signal, go short. I'm just example of moving average one. So you just focus on the super trend logic or moving average logic and create the trade. That's it. You don't need to worry how to place the trade, how to place the SL order, how to place target order, what will happen, how to update the values when the SL hits, how to update the values when target hits, or how to handle the trade if it is cancelled. Okay, so there's so many things, right, in the trade. So that all the complex logic is going to be handled by the base strategy and the trade manager in combination. I hope you got the point. So you don't need to go into complexities of the framework internals of this base strategy or trade manager, but it is good to have understanding of complete code so that you can customize your own logic in case something is not supported or I have not written in this framework, that you can write by extending some logic somewhere wherever it is required. So for that you need to understand the complete code. Got it? Okay, base strategy, what are the properties we generally have in each strategy? So the strategy name, if it is enabled by default, if you are interested creating a strategy, I am just enabling is true. If it is not enabled, then it's not going to run. Okay. Product type, so by default MI is assuming that all are intraday strategies. So this is a list of symbols. So what are the symbols this strategy is going to work on? You have some, let's say, ORB strategy. You can have some fixed set of symbols, Tata Steel, SBI, Reliance, Infi, and let's say some Maruti and 10 or 15 symbols. Or if you want to get the list of Nifty 50 stocks, or some strategy you want to trade FNO stocks, 180 stocks. So all those symbols name you have to set in this list. Okay. And what is SL percentage? This is from entry. Let's say in your ORB strategy, after you enter, your stop loss is, let's say, 1% and target is 2%. Of course, it may not be the SL target, these values may not be applicable. You can have your own calculation for SL, maybe based on some EMI line, that you can add that customized logic in the derived clause of your strategy. And when what is the strategy start time? Say your ORB strategy is, let's say, 15-minute breakout strategy. So your strategy actually starts at 9:30 a.m. ignoring the first 15 minutes. Or if your strategy starts at 10 a.m., so this will be the 10 a.m. That timestamp you need to state in your derived strategy. So your strategy only knows, right, what is the start time and stop timestamp. This stop timestamp is not the square of time, just making you very clear. The start timestamp is like, say, your strategy keep on generating the signal and placing the new trades, and up to 2 o'clock. Okay, assume that up to 2 o'clock, if you get entry, you will take the trade. If it is beyond 2 p.m., you are not going to take trade. So this stop timestamp will be that time, right? It's not square of time. And here square of time is a different. So this can be 3:15. So the existing trades can be exited at this timestamp. Okay. This stop timestamp can also be used for another purpose. Let's say you place some trade in the morning with limit order, but the price has not reached and it's not filled or partially filled even at 2 o'clock. Assume that is your strategy timestamp. So what you should do? You still wait after 2 o'clock? No, right, generally. If it is partially filled, what you just cancel the order and you will continue the rest of the trade. If it is not filled completely, just cancel the order. Okay, it doesn't matter if you keep the order after 2 p.m., right? I mean, after your strategy stop time. So for that purpose, you need to use this. And here, what is the capital? This capital is nothing but the margin you are going to allocate for this particular strategy. Let's say you have 5 strategies and you want to trade each strategy with 1 lakh. So that is the capital you allocate here. Some default value I gave here. You can modify this in your strategy 1, 2 or there. You can set. I'll tell you how to set that. And leverage. So what is the leverage this strategy is going to use? So default I put 1, but you can put in your base strategy, sample strategy, wherever, 2x, 3x, whatever. And max trades per day. So how many trades this strategy places on a particular day. So let's say your list of stocks, the symbols can be, let's say, 15, it can be 50 also, but you need to trade only a few symbols, right? Let's say that there can be 10 signals generated as per your condition, but you want to trade only the 5 trades, right? So that number, this one, max trades per day. If it is FNO, it's true or false, and we'll see, this can be used later. And capital per set, this is applicable only if it is a futures or options trade, okay? That will come into later, I will cover. And some array I am maintaining, list I am maintaining, trades created symbol. So just you created some trade for that symbol, right? And you just update this list so that when you run in a loop, right? So the same trade cannot be created again, okay, for that. So these are the properties, and see, so there are some functions. The strategy will get name, the strategy name is enabled or not, and if you want to set the strategies to disabled, just call this function set disabled. So it will be set to false, so that even if the trade manager or algo runs this strategy is not going to run because it's disabled. And process, okay, this is the key thing. So here I am not writing any implementation because this is the base strategy. I don't know what is the logic you are going to put, right, in your own strategy. So whoever derives this strategy, and inside your the derived class, derived strategy, you have to write actual logic. I'll tell you how I wrote the sample strategy logic. And calculate capital per trade, this is a utility function. So this is your total capital, okay, let's say 1 lakh capital, and you are using the leverage of 2x. So that will be a 2 lakh total by how many max trades per day? If it is 10, so 2 lakh by 10, so each trade can be get only 20,000. So only that calculation. And can trade today or not. So some strategy you can trade every day some strategy you can trade only on Wednesday, Thursday, depends, right? So again, in default we are returning true, and the strategy, whichever derived from this base strategy, will implement this logic and will return true or false, so that the trade manager algorithm, okay, this strategy can be executed today or not. If it is written false, then not going to do anything. And I told you, right, in Algo Manager, if you remember, Algo, here what I did, after starting Trade Manager, I started this sample strategy, get instant, run. Okay, I'll tell you what is get instant, but concentrate on this run. So this run method is actually coming from the base strategy. Okay, so whenever you call run for each strategy, so this logic is being executed. So it will handle whether strategy enabled or is market closed for the day, or if the market is not yet open and wait for the market, okay, or if the market is open but the strategy start time is different. So let's say if 9:30, till 9:30 you just wait, even the market is open, we just wait till the strategy timestamp reaches, correct? If it is can trade today or not, if it's not trade, then just return, you don't need to do anything. All the conditions are satisfied and we came here, so we have to run the strategy today. So generally what happens, right, when any strategy, it's not like you call some function and leave it, right? So there can be processing going on in a loop. Every few seconds, let's say in this case I put a 30 seconds time delay. So every 30 seconds I call a process function from the base class, okay, self.process, okay. This process function is called, and the process function actually calculates, trade entry points and generate the trades based on the signals and all. And yeah, so the logic can be at different intervals. It can be at 9:30, 9:31, 32 or whatever, and you can do some different operations. So inside a while loop, continuously every 30 seconds, not every 30 seconds, precisely I am waking this thread on every 30th second. So let's say after 1 minute finishes, you are doing some operation, right, inside process. So it will be exactly after a 5-minute candle closes, or after 10-minute candle closes, or after 1 minute candle closes. So for that purpose, I'm calculating how many seconds I need to wait to have a next 30th second. So in that way, I'll just wait in a learning loop and I'll keep on calling the self.process. And when the market end time reaches, is market closer for the day, and break. That's it. You come out of this loop and the strategy stop there. So all this complex logic is handled by the base strategy. You don't need to worry about it. You just concentrate on setting all these properties and concentrate on writing the logic for process. Okay. Let's look at the sample strategy. So I'm deriving this from base strategy. Okay. So the common functionality we are getting from the base strategy, you don't need to write. And what are the things you are setting here? These are the properties. Let's say in this case, for sample, I took a product type MIS and named the strategy name as sample. Call this base strategy init method and constructor with the strategy name. Okay. And some symbols, some 5 symbols or 6 symbols about here. SL percentage 1.1, target 2.2, start timestamp is 9:30. You just call, I told you, right, utils method, I written something, get time of today. So you can just use that util method here, get time of today, start timestamp define here, this is stop timestamp I gave 12:30, and square of timestamp I gave 15, okay, 00. And then capital, I just allocated some 3000 with leverage 3x, okay, and max trades per day 3. So out of these 6 trades, if triggered, then I am going to take only 3 trades, not more than that. Okay, I didn't rewrite the complete logic, okay, but the purpose is there for that. Is Fn over not a capital percent? This will come later, okay. So what is the logic process? So I wrote some sample logic just for demonstrating or understanding purpose. I don't know whether this strategy works in live or not. Of course, most of the strategy do not work. You will end in loss if you use this strategy. So there's some simple logic. I'm not fetching any candles here basically. So we need to subscribe separately for Zerodha, and which charges for 2000 per month again for historical APIs. For now, I'm just doing some sample logic based on the code. Okay. So what I'm doing for symbol in self.symbol, for all the symbols, I'm going each symbol by symbol here. So whenever this process is called, this is called by base strategy, right? Inside a run function in a loop it is called. So whenever this is called, what I'm doing, for each symbol I'm getting the current code, okay? So I'm get the code, from the code is written logic here. Again, this code I defined, this is system specific code, okay? And each broker can return some different data, and you convert that broker code into a system specific code and return that code, okay? So these are the values we have. The code I defined code model here. These are the values we have. Code trading symbol, last trade price, trade quantity, average trade volume, open, high, low, close, open, high, low of the day, and close, I mean this is previous day close, and change today change from the previous close. Lower circuit. This again we don't need these values now, but anyway these are the properties. And coming to the sample strategy, what I'm doing here, traversing through each symbol from the symbols list and getting the current market price, okay, and I'm just calculating some long breakout price. So what I'm long breakout is nothing. Yesterday close plus 0.5%. The current market price is greater than 0.5% from previous day close, then create a long trade. If current market price is less than 0.5%, then do a short trade, okay. So then only I'm doing creating long trade, short trade. So what I'm doing is here is I'm just printing nothing. So direction none initially, breakout price nothing. If CMP is greater than long breakout price, direction long, and what is the breakout price? Long breakout price, which is nothing but in this one. Yesterday close plus 0.5%, and for short yesterday close minus 0.5%. If current market price is less than short breakout price, okay, direction short and short breakouts. Otherwise nothing. I mean, if none of these things true, the direction will be nothing, right? I mean, you are not going to take any trade. If direction is none, just continue and we'll take another symbol. So we're not going to do anything with this symbol. So again, this process will be called in next 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, keep on calling, right? So at some point of time, the condition may satisfy, and you may enter into the trade, either long or short, whatever. Or throughout the entire day, this condition may not be satisfied for a particular symbol. 0.5% may not reach either of the side. If symbol, suppose if it is not none, either long or short. So what I am doing is, if symbol not in self clear, okay, if this trade is already not placed, then only I am calling this generate trade. Otherwise, what happen, you every 30 seconds when this process is called, you keep on creating a new trade, right? So for that purpose, first I am checking whether it's not generated or not. If it's not generated, then only I am generating by calling this function self.generate. So these are the functions specific to your strategy. You have to write this logic can be different from different strategies. So here the properties are only this much, but for your strategy the properties can be different. Trading symbol directions can be same, but instead of breakout price, something, some super trend value or some EMA value, some different values, right? So those values are different. I mean, you have to write in each strategy this small function you have to write. And okay, wherever this trade creator symbol is updated, I am updating here. After generating the at the end of the, so I am appending this trading symbol to the trades created symbols list, so that this can be checked here, and the same trade cannot be generated again for that symbol. Okay, so you got the point, right? So what is so it's creating the instance of the trade. I explained it. What is the trade here? If you inside trade management, where it is, okay, here. So these are all the things, right? So but we need to set some specific values while creating a trade, and other values are being set by trade manager as and when the trade progresses and trade moves into different states, correct? But what are the initial values you need, right, for the trade? So you need to mention what is the strategy. So this self get name, the strategy name. So what is the direction? What is the past here? Long or short? Product type MIS. Place market order. Actually, you can actually use instead of hard code, you can just use self.product type. So you don't need this thing here. Okay, you already defined, right, for each strategy. So that is the product type. Whether place market order or not. In this case, I'm just keeping as true. And what is the breakout price? I'm just assigning that to request entry to the trade and calculate the quantity. Here, what I'm doing. So, what is the capital per trade, right? So, in base strategy, I wrote some function. So, based on the leverage and capital and number of max tradable stocks per the day, we'll get some value here and divide that value by the current breakout price, so that you will get the quantity and convert to integer. So, this value can be the double, it's a floating point number, so we need a quantity in integer value, right? So that's why I'm just converting it to integer. So how do you calculate stop loss? If direction is long, so round to NSE price, I explained, right, why we use this utility function. So when you calculate the stop loss can be 121.33, but actual value is 121.35, which is valid. Otherwise the broker will give error, your order will be failed. So what is the breakout price minus breakout price into SL percentage by 100. So the percentage we are calculating from the current price and just deducting from the requested entry. So that will be the stop loss. If it is short trade, ulta, I mean reverse, sorry. So it will be plus, right? And what is the target? If it is a long trade, your target will be breakout price request entry plus the target percentage value, right? Else it will be breakout minus. So your target will be somewhere bottom. In case of long, it will be upside. Here I have not yet placed any trade. Okay, actually I need to create a trade and I have to relate both the trade manager and this strategy. Okay, pass the trade to the trade manager. Trade manager will take the action, and trade manager asks the strategy again, should I place the trade or not? So whenever those things will implement later, and we will cover in the next video. Whenever the trade manager asks the strategy, okay, should I place the trade or not? If it is returns true, then only the trade manager will place the trade, and later on after that, the trade manager will handle the complete state of the trade. As I told, when trade moves like created, move, then active. From active, it can go to cancel or rejected if the order is rejected. If it is not rejected and it will be accepted, then the trade can go to field state. That is means active. After that active, the trade manager will take care of placing SL order and target order, and it will track the trade throughout the day. Whenever the SL hits, it will get the orders from the broker every minute, and will check whether SL hit or target hit, and based on those orders, SL or target order, it will update the state to complete state, and there actually the trade state will end. Okay, so there are so many things coming. I need to implement all of them. I hope till this point you understood how actually I am developing the framework based on the domain knowledge. Domain knowledge is what all the things happen in trading, right? So even if you are new to trading, right? So even if you don't know some things, you can just go through the video again, you'll understand, or you can ask your friends. So what are the things? Yeah, at some point you may not understand some technical terms if you are new to trading, but if you are already in trading, then I hope you understood all of them. Yeah, okay. One thing I forgot to explain you here. What is this get instance, right? So ideally you need to create a sample strategy from outside directly, right? So what happens, right, when your strategy, this strategy class should be called only once, not more than once, right, in your program. If it is called more than once, so there can be multiple times it's running, and the orders will be firing multiple times, and the trade manager will be confused and will put some trades in inconsistent, some duplicate trades and blah blah blah, and you will explode the number of orders, right? Explode. There will be explosion of orders, right? So ideally we need to restrict strategies to be called only once. I mean, either strategy 1 to be called only once, strategy 2 to be called only once, like that. So there is a concept in design patterns to prevent any class from creating multiple instances, right? So in Python, how do we handle that? So in Java and C++, there's a different mechanism. There are some private constructors, and using that you can do it, but we don't have concept of private constructor in Python, but we can achieve this by throwing some exception. So that's why I'm having a static variable here at class level underscore instance. I'm setting it to none. Suppose if somebody calls creates sample set from outside, okay, from outside, not from this class. So this will be called, right? If it is not none, okay, so it's already set, because when you call get instance, it's already set. So get instance is called from here, right? I'll go, where is I'll go? sorry. So what I'm doing is sample strategy, get instance, then only the object will be created, and after that I'm calling the run method. I'm giving the run method to separate thread here. So what I'm doing here, so when you call get instance from outside, if instance is none, say yes, initially it is none, then I am actually creating the instance of that and assigning to the static variable and just returning the instance. That is nothing but this reference of this object. Suppose if it is called again from outside other than this get instance, so that time this will be checked, right? I mean, this not equal none condition will satisfy. So already not equal none, right? So the exception will be raised. So this way we are actually preventing from creating another instance of the sample strategy. Not only sample strategy, any strategy. So if you are writing some sample 2 strategy, some super trend strategy, whatever strategy you are going to write, so this code you need to write very common everywhere. These properties will change, but you just copy paste this sample strategy and you keep changing the values. Like in case of sample here, you replace the sample strategy with, let's say, super trend strategy. Okay, that's how you need to write. I hope you got right. This is the way you to prevent creating multiple instances of strategy. So here I'm using the singleton design pattern. If you don't know about design pattern, again that is again another topic to you. If you are interested, you can search internet and you can learn. Okay, and coming to the PPT, I hope you understood whatever I explained so far. Then I will write code for placing orders from a strategy in the live market, and how do I handle all those trades? How do you track the trade, entry, SL, target, square off, so different states, updating the entry price, exit price, order status, so many things. I mean, this is not a small thing. There are so many things involved in trade management, and that is a complicated one. Next video will be that one only. So before next video, I want to make you understand all the small building blocks of the framework that I implemented so far. Okay, I think, yeah, have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.